Okay, if you think you've cracked the present tense, you understand the endings and how they're formed, let's have a look at some irregular stem change verbs. The verbs that we're going to look at today will become quite familiar to you. Fahren, to go, meaning something else took you there, not your feet please. Schlafen, to sleep. Lesen, to read. Sehen, to see, used with to watch television. Essen, to eat. And nehmen, to take. The different pattern that you're about to see will only affect the following pronouns. Du, sie, es. The rest of the pronouns will stay the same. So, the first group we're going to look at is where there is a stem change from an R to an E sound. And the two verbs I've selected for this purpose are fahren and schlafen. So, here we have it. We have the pronouns down the left-hand side, ich, du, sie, es, and wir, sie. And on the right-hand side, I have already reduced my infinitive to its stem. So, fahren at the top has become far. From the infinitive, I have removed the en. From the second infinitive, schlafen, again, I have removed the en. And the endings for the ich, wir, and sie forms are the same as we've already learnt. Okay, I need to make no further changes to these particular parts of the verb. The change is actually going to happen in the du, the sie, es form of the verb, where the R in fahren or schlafen is going to become an E. So, du fährst, there's going to be an umlaut. Sie, es fährt, there's going to be an umlaut. Du schläfst, there's going to be an umlaut. Schläft, again, there's going to be an umlaut. And just the endings we've already learnt. ST for do, and a T for sie and es. Let's have a look at the second group of verbs, where there is a stem change to the vowel. This time, the stem change is going to be an E, which changes to an IE. Okay, so we're on to lesen. Again, I have got the ich, wir, and sie forms down to their stem, les and ze, by removing the en from the infinitives. Now, this is where the verbs have normal endings. Okay, and I'm now going to show you how the how the verb itself, the stem, changes for the do, sie, es forms. Now, the stem change is from an E to an IE, so we're going to insert an extra vowel. So instead of it being les, it's going to be lease. And instead of it being ze, it's going to be sie. Okay, and that is how the stem changes. And now, all we need are, well, normally the regular endings. However, lesen already has an S, so I just need a T. But it would be du siehst, sie, es liest, and sie, es sieht. And finally, onto the third group of stem change verbs. Essen, to eat, and nehmen, to take. This is where the E is going to be replaced with an I in the do and sie, es forms. Let's have a look. So, as with the other verbs, I have taken the infinitive and I have already removed the en and have placed them in pink, and then just have to add the normal endings to the ich, wir, and sie forms of the verb. Now remember, the stem change that's going to happen is the E is going to become an I. Looks a little bit funny in front of Essen, so we become is, And on nemen, actually, something else happens as well. It becomes nim. Okay, so the H becomes an M, and nim. Then onto these verb stems, we just add the endings as before. Again, this one already ends with an S. We don't need another one. So it's just going to be a T that we add on the end for both the do and the es, the S forms. However, we need the ST because there's no S here already, and a T. So he takes, nimmt. He eats, isst. Do you eat, isst du? And you take, du nimmst. So to summarise, the 6 verbs we just looked at are fahren, schlafen, lesen, sehen, essen and nehmen. The first 2 verbs, fahren and schlafen, have a stem change of a to an a when we're using the do, and s forms of the verbs. Okay, so it becomes either fährt or fährst. On the second group of verbs, the e becomes ie. Du liest, sie, es liest. Du siehst, sie, es sieht. And on the third set of verbs, the e becomes an I. So the stem changes from the e to the I. Isst and nimmt, with an extra consonant change here as well. Remember, the stem change only ever affects the do, sie, es form of the verb. The rest of the verb stays as we have learnt it. Viel Glück und Tschüss!